Hi, my name is Michael McBride, and I'm just going to give a quick overview of the inspiration and I guess some of the kind of inner workings or inner thinkings of the presentation that the panel will be discussing at the Survive and Thrive conference. The presentation is called Heal Thyself, Heal Thy Neighbor, Narrative Medicines from Private to Performance. As an English instructor in literature and humanities, I teach writing. Even when we're reading, we're often responding to it or engaging the text in some way. And so the writing process and how to get students to care about writing and see it as something greater than just a task to perform is always in the back of my mind. I'm a very open person. I tend to share a lot, and an easy forum for that is Facebook and Twitter and those kind of things. They're an easy kind of medium, but that stuff doesn't usually enter the classroom in the traditional setting. So that's just kind of background on me, I guess. And then the actual inspiration for this presentation came about when a kind of weird event happened for me. I have a 3.5-year-old, and when I got pulled aside by his teacher at preschool, and was told that he had said something in the classroom, and she was a little concerned about what he had said and where he might have picked this up, and it honestly, it just kind of shocked me. I wasn't really sure what to do with the information. My spouse was at work, so I couldn't talk to her. And I found myself wanting to hash this out, but not really feeling like I could do the normal thing, which in my case would usually be, talking with friends and family and that kind of stuff. I really wanted to talk with my wife first. So what it forced me to do was really to address private writing. I sat down and I just wrote a bunch of stuff. Sorry, that's my cat. He says hi. And I went through probably 4 or 5 drafts. I just kind of sketched down some ideas. I went back, I'd fill stuff in, I'd kind of cross things out. And what I found was that act of writing was very therapeutic. I mean, it offered me a catharsis in a lot of ways. And then when I did actually get a chance to talk to my wife when she was done working, I had a more thoughtful approach other than just, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And so I found kind of my process going from intensely private, which is usually where the writing process starts. You start kind of generating ideas, and that's usually in your mind, and often that's the formation of your thoughts. And you do have to write something down at some point, whether it's an outline or a sketch or just little notes on the back of your hand or whatever. And in the actual act of writing, then, you have a physical representation of your thoughts that you can revisit. You see it there. It's a reminder that you had these kind of thoughts. It forces you to kind of reassess them, even if it's just to go, oh, okay, here's this piece of garbage. I'll throw it away now. In my mind, that kind of project about my son, went from very intensely personal and private to talking to my wife, slightly more public, eventually then talking to my parents and her parents, and then it became this much more communal kind of activity. And through that process, what I found was I reap the benefits very early on. Just by hashing out some of the feelings and emotions and concerns I had with myself, I was able to calm down and just kind of deal with some of those things. When I spoke with my wife, then we were able to kind of bounce ideas off each other and kind of address that as well. And in that situation, I certainly still did benefit from it, and she also benefited from learning this information and being able to, respond to kind of the questions I had, and then once we went to a more public forum where we shared the information with others, we were no longer really benefiting as strongly as everybody else was. Everybody else could respond and react to what had happened, and they benefited from those experiences. So I guess through the course of this, the way the panel is going to be broken down is three parts. One person is going to focus on the intensely private writing, which I believe is, honestly, I don't remember who chose that part. And then the middle part's going to be kind of the peer review, discussion, sharing kind of part, where the healing of the writing or the oration or whatever is more mutual. And then the third part of it will be the component where it's a much more public or performance kind of aspect. So I was thinking about musicians, and sketching down notes and making lyrics, performing for smaller clubs, performing for friends, that kind of stuff kind of in the middle. And then towards the end, going out and doing tours where you play the song over and over and over and over again. Everybody wants to hear the hits. And at that point, you're probably not getting much back from the audience, but the audience is, certainly benefiting from that writing and those experiences as well. To answer the specific question I've been asked by Amber about the Twitter and Facebook component, I really enjoy the immediate feedback. For students, when I'm trying to motivate them in terms of their own writing, I mean, one of the problems, I think, is that writing has been seen in such a unilateral project. You write it, you turn it in, you get a grade a couple weeks later, a couple days later, and then you write the next thing. It's this kind of assembly line thing. Where Facebook, Twitter, even Tumblr accounts or whatever, all are kind of an ongoing process, and the response is immediate. So you post something as your status or Twitter tweet. Sorry, couldn't come up with the word. And then other people react to that, and then their reactions inspire a new reaction from you or not. It dies off, but there's at least that immediate feedback. And I think, it's peer review. It's a very rudimentary form of peer review, but it's a reaction to what was said, which is such a hard sell in classes to get people to share their writing and what they've done. It's almost like they're kind of embarrassed, or they're just not willing to let go of that private writing that they've had. So it's something I've been experimenting with, and I know a lot of other people are obviously using social media in classes as well. But in terms of healing, we don't all have support groups. Not everybody has, a dependable family that they can go to and share those things with. Not everybody has a spouse or a partner to be able to have that kind of intimate knowledge and relationship with, to kind of share those things as well. But Facebook, Twitter, the like are easy ways of reaching out and kind of saying, this happened, and then allowing other people to react, even if it's just to say, oh, wow, I'm really sorry to hear you had such a crappy day. It's comforting in some way, to know that somebody's out there. And it all, for me, stems from writing, the act of typing the 140 characters or whatever it is to get your words out there, is the starting point. Everything else that kind of comes from that is just kind of a bonus. The other part of the panel that we'll talk about too is then taking that little germ of writing and expanding it. The more you revisit something that you've written or experienced, the more lush and kind of rounded the story becomes. You have more to add to it, whether it's just because of reactions of other people, or you've just had time to kind of reflect. And that reflection is, for me, the essential component in the writing process. You write something, you read something, you reflect, you write something else, you reflect again, and it just kind of continues. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you need other questions, by all means, shoot me an email, respond to the video, whatever you'd like to do. And I look forward to seeing you at the conference.